once I have realized the power of M&A and how realistic it is, like, I think I always looked at M&A and I said, well, I don't have millions of dollars in our business banking account. How am I actually going to acquire a company? Now I'm looking at companies who have $500,000 in EBITDA, $750,000 in EBITDA. And the way that we're purchasing them doesn't even require our own cash in most cases. And after that, if you look at our company, which is about $500,000 in EBITDA, and you add all those together, overnight, we could be close to $2 million in EBITDA.
What's up, agency owners? Jason Swenk here with another episode of the Smart Agency Masterclass podcast for the agency owner that wants to hear the insights from true agency owners, not just all the crap that's out there. And on today's episode, I'm my good friend Jon, who's been a mastermind member for, God, no, I can't remember, 5-6 years, something long. You can kind of go over that. But he's going to talk about something that has been on his mind for a while, is around buying other agencies. Now, he's going through the process right now. And so I think it'd be a really good episode for you guys to check out. And because I think a lot of you are probably thinking the same thing. So let's go ahead and jump into the show. Hey, Jon, welcome to the show.
Hey, Jason, how you doing?
Good. Now, we've known each other for so long. Have you ever been on the show before? I think is this the second one or the first one?
No, literally the first one. I've done a couple What's Working Nows for the community, but yeah, that's about it.
Well, I'm glad I finally convinced you to come on. So tell us who you are and what do you do?
Hey, so I'm Jon. I own T3 Marketing and OptiAuto. Those are marketing companies that service car dealerships. We have been a full service marketing agency for a really long time, and we're sort of shifting that to being a CMO for car dealerships. And then OptiAuto is a website platform, so more of a tech company for car dealerships. We've been doing that since 2000. I've been in marketing since I graduated college in 2012, but we finally launched T3 Marketing in 2016 or so. I think I joined your community probably in 2017 or 18, so pretty much right from the beginning. And it's been amazing. I mean, your community has definitely helped me always feel, it's funny. One, it's always been the source of knowledge for us and any sort of tough question. But it got to the point where my business partner, who was never actually a member of the community, whenever we had a tough thing, he'd be like, well, what would Jason Swenk do? What would you, but I just always would say, well, people in the community are doing this. And yeah, it's funny because you hear things and you don't need them right now. You don't need that source of information, but you recall it when you get to that challenge.
Yeah, exactly. That's fun. And I remember meeting Chuck when you guys came out to the house and we're out for the digital agency experience, which was just a blast. And I remember he had, what was that hat? It looked like Cousin Eddie from the Christmas Vacation hat. I always remember him in that hat because it was so cold when we took the four-wheelers out.
Oh, you had the whole beanie thing, yeah, or like the ears covered, and
it was funny.
Yeah.
We were talking kind of in the pre-show for a while. I probably should have hit record around then, but we were talking about kind of mergers and acquisitions. And you were saying like, I wish I knew more about this a long time ago because I probably got in it sooner. And that's probably why everyone's listening to it right now. So walk me through kind of why are you going through the process of trying to buy certain companies and what did you wish you knew sooner about it?
Yeah, definitely. So we always have been, trying to entertain offers that come across our desk. Most of the time they're tire kickers or they just don't make sense or you'd be strapped to your agency for a long time. In 2021 or 2022, maybe, we had an agency aggregator come to us and started to sort of go through the process. They shared their vision. They asked about our company and, they have a book. I read their book and we went through all this. It took about probably 6 months. And then we ended up just deciding not to move forward with that. It just didn't make sense for both parties after we revealed enough. And then I realized I sort of gained the knowledge of what an agency roll-up is. And I think the biggest term that really got me was the term multiple arbitrage. So we talk about all the time that you can grow your agency. You just emailed out a sort of a multiple valuation, just saying, and we were talking about in the pre-show a little bit, is agencies under this value, maybe 2 to 3x, then it goes to 5x. Once you get to $1 million in EBITDA, it could go up to, as much as 12x. So I think most agency owners, including myself for years, or thought, okay, well, how am I going to double this thing over and over and over again? And how am I going to multiply sales and still retain clients and be scalable? And admittedly, our agency went up really quickly, and then it plateaued for a little while. Now it's on a casual incline, which is great, more of a healthy incline of maybe 10 to 20% a year. So I'm like, okay, well, I can't get to $2 million in EBITDA overnight. But now, once I have realized the power of M&A and how realistic it is, I think I always looked at M&A and I said, well, I don't have millions of dollars in our business banking account. How am I actually going to acquire a company? Now I'm looking at companies who have $500,000 in EBITDA, $750,000 in EBITDA. And the way that we're purchasing them doesn't even require our own cash in most cases. And after that, if you look at our company, which is about $500,000 in EBITDA, and you add all those together, overnight, we could be close to $2 million in EBITDA. So what we're doing is we are looking to exponentially grow through just the power of M&A. And, kind of touch on base on the fact that we don't have to use our own cash. We have semi-automated our outreach. So we are super, super niche. So we don't have that many people that we're reaching out to, but we are just reaching out to marketing companies that service car dealerships. And we've identified a little over 100 of them, and then narrowed that down to about 50 that I think would be really, really prime. So we've just been nailing them. I've been texting people. I've been calling people. I've been emailing them. We've been trying to brand ourselves. So we created an acquisitions brand called AdBox. So that way it didn't look like T3 Marketing is necessarily acquiring them. It's more AdBox. And AdBox is associated with a bigger vision of how we're going to acquire companies and then grow them and then resell them in 2 to 3 years, or more so like 2 to 4 years. And what I'm even explaining to these owners that, hey, the moment that you get acquired by us, you will be worth 5x, where you might only be worth 3x right now. So how about you keep a portion of the company and actually take that exit, the second exit in 2 to 4 years. The cool thing is you also start to connect with people who are looking for your help. But they didn't know how to ask for that help. They're sort of looking for a lifeboat. So for example, we are talking to this one agency owner right now who has been managing his agency for 42 years. So he's just like, just please take it. I here's everything that I have, and I will listen to any offer. And it fits right into what we're doing too. And he's just ready to move on. He's just tired. And then we spoke to another agency owner that is more an investor in the agency and has grown agencies on his own. And then he had a business partner. They are not, they're not getting along very well. And the investor's like, well, I'm going to gain ownership through the courts. I'm going to gain ownership of the agency, but then I need an operator. And he's like, I don't even need cash. I just need somebody like you to come in and operate it. So like that scenario will be a small down payment. And then he'll seller finance it at essentially 0% interest over the course of 10 years, which fits right into the cash flow. And so when you're looking at SBA loans right now that are about 11%, most of these owners are willing to just sort of finance not most of them, but if you have enough conversations, we're realizing you get a lot of people who are willing to just sell it to you so that way they don't have to operate it.
I almost look at it as like the people that are willing to do the 10 years, and correct me if I'm wrong, right? So like if you came to me and said, Jason, I want to buy you and I'll pay you over time with your profit over 10 years at 0% interest, I'd be like, you're full of shit. Like, no way. Now, if there was a certain portion of that, so let's say, we were at 10 million in valuation and you were giving me 7 million in cash, well, probably the 3 million, I'd be like, okay, I'm happy with the 7, the 3 million. Yeah, you can finance that. Are you seeing people saying the 100% to do the financing?
So we're only offering the seller financing if they are willing to stay involved. And so the big win there, or the pitch there, is that they get to keep their salary. And then, so it's sort of doubling their salary. Or in this other scenario, they don't want to be involved, like this investor, for example. He doesn't want a salary. He has taken a salary, but it now allows him to, the value is that he regains his time. So he can go work on something else now. He also has like a design agency on top of this website company that he owns.
Okay. Because I always look at like, when it's too good to be true, what are the things I'm going to discover after I buy this company? Because what we've learned with buying the 10 agencies at Republics is, yeah, we bought them. Yeah, we're over 30 million in top line and over 8 figures in EBITDA, but we still are integrating. And it's still not all perfect, humming and all perfect. And you can't sell it right away. But I think what I picked up on what you're doing is like, what we're doing at Republics is we're building up as a big entity and then selling, the big thing off. You're kind of coming in, kind of investing or kind of buying a portion of their business, coming in and kind of doing a management consulting and then selling that off. Is that right? Or
no, we do want to sell it as larger entity. So that would be the big play. I will say, yeah, management consultant is essentially what we're doing, and then looking for synergies. And so our vision is that we will take the top talent in all the different businesses, and that will become its own little internal mastermind, if you will. And then they'll come together and have constant discussions on how they can leverage everything that everybody has. So another thing that we learned from a great mentor of ours is that you shouldn't acquire synergies, you should acquire capabilities. And so we sort of have in our head this checklist of things that we're looking at. And for example, we do a lot of direct mail. So we're not just a digital agency. About half of our business is direct mail. The agency that we're looking to acquire has a print shop in-house. So we can go from paying, say, 20 cents per piece to 3 cents per piece. And so we're looking for those like increased capabilities. We're looking at very tenured salespeople. So hopefully we can start to acquire client relationships in some ways. In automotive, it's really, really big to have OEM approvals. So if you're approved by Chrysler or by Honda to do business with those dealerships, it's super easy to sell into those dealerships. Yeah. So we're looking to definitely sell as one. We're trying to keep all the individual brands separate as long as it makes sense. And then we're okay with the ideas. We don't want to necessarily plan for that, but it could end up being one big brand, or it could end up being 10 separate brands that are all under the Adbox brand.
There was a model I started looking at pretty hard, maybe a year ago. It's around, everybody knows who Alex Hormozi is now with acquisition.com. And I thought their model was pretty cool, where they'll kind of invest or do management consulting and then have the option to buy, to buy that business. And then they can kind of increase it, and then they could sell that off one-on-one rather than, selling off the parent. So there's millions of ways in order to do it. I remember too, before we started buying some companies, I used to think, I was like, oh man, we have to have millions of dollars in cash to buy a company. But, this was 20 years ago when we were starting to do it, like the financing was very different. And so you can kind of go to the bank and the small business loan and pay little down and that kind of stuff. And now the interest rates are a little bit more. So it's a little bit harder, but you can always get creative.
Yeah, it's really neat getting into this acquisitions. I'm addicted to community. See, I've been in your community for a long time, and now I'm in a couple of acquisitions masterminds and communities. And some of these people, the communities I'm in aren't marketing agency specific. And so some of these people are actually buying salaries. And it's a crazy concept, but they're coming in from the corporate world. They're not, fully entrepreneurial just yet, or full-time entrepreneur really. And then they are looking at companies and they're saying, okay, well, I need that company to have $300,000 in EBITDA because I know the loan to buy that company I'm going to have to service that at $150,000 a year, which leaves $150,000 for me. And so they're looking at it as like, okay, well, now then I can live off 150,000, and they're essentially getting a business for free, or maybe they're raising the 10%, or maybe they have the 10% and then buying the rest with SBA money at a 90% loan to value. Yeah, it's just mind blowing how easy it is to just, I think the book that popularized that model, buy then build, and buy something that's established. Don't build then, and start from scratch.
Yeah. Well, it's you're buying someone's perfect formula that it took them years and years to kind of formulate. You're not just buying, their profit. You're buying so much more. I always talk about EBITDA, but that's just a starting point. You got to kind of look at like, all right, what's the true value to you? And the true value to you may be different to the owner, because maybe, like you said, they've been doing it for 40 years and they're kind of tired of it. They shouldn't really kind of talk to a person about possibly buying is like, I'm tired of it. Just take it. Like, that's the dumbest negotiation I've ever heard.
So it's me reading between the lines. He didn't come out that way, but
correct. But still, it's like, you never tell people you're tired of it.
Yeah, definitely. And to your point, the value to me, like one of the deals that we really like right now is it's a break-even company. The P&L is completely break-even, but I could see $750,000 in EBITDA in year 1 to 2 because I know that they're just overstaffed. And I also look at that same type of thing for other businesses. It's like, how many of these employees are you emotionally tied to versus really makes sense for the business?
Jon, this has all been great. Is there anything I didn't ask you about, kind of the mergers and acquisitions in the agency world that you think the audience needs to know about?
No, I would just say, I'll leave on this one. And this is another concept that a mentor of mine shared is just think big. And, once I started thinking about acquiring one agency, then I came to the idea of thinking big. Then I started saying, okay, well, how do I plan to acquire 5 to 10 agencies? And once I started gaining that vision, I have more people that are attaching themselves to me along the way that make me more powerful. And it's going to be a lot easier to get to acquiring 10 agencies than it would even 1 or 2. So just don't limit yourself to whatever your vision is.
Yeah, well, exactly. And I always kind of harp on people. I'm like, what's the vision? Where are you going? Like, what's the long term? And then what are the things you're going to hold yourself accountable? A lot of us struggle with like, what is that vision? Right? Or we get to a place where we're comfortable and we're like, I don't know, I just don't want to go back down. And then it's just like, well, where is that? So, it's an important point of like really kind of think big. Like I told, we had a what's working that we do for our mastermind every month. And I led it yesterday. And I told everybody, I go, all right, what are all the things that you would have to do in order to double your agency and in the next year? What are all the things? And people are like, there's like probably 100 things. I said, okay, if you were going to 10x it in the next year, what would you need to do? That item is so much smaller. It's like 1 or 2 things. You need to focus on that, right? Rather than all these things, because all these things will get us distracted. I remember another exercise someone walked me through is like, how fast? Like, well, let's do this really quick. Jon, I want you to, I'm going to time you. How fast can you count to 25? And I'm going to time you. Okay, go.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25.
Okay, cool. Around 7 seconds. Okay. Now how fast can you go from A to Z? Ready? Go.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, P, Q, R, S, T, V, W, X, Y, Z.
Okay. All right, cool. Good. You did good. You're average. Now, I want you to go from 1 to 25, but also add in a letter. So it's like 1A, 2B. So, all right, ready? Go.
Oh, yeah. 1A, 2B, 3C, 4D, 5E, 6F, 7G, 8H, 9I, 10K.
You can stop. I think I proved the point.
I have probably missed one.
There's too many options, right?
Yeah.
So when we think about too many options, I think we proved the point on that one.
That was exhausting.
It's a fun little exercise when people are like, oh, there's all these things. I'm like, well, if you make it simpler, just count 1 to 26 or A through Z, like just do that. And it comes up a lot simpler. So, well, awesome, Jon. Well, thanks so much for, being a great friend and being on our community for so long. And if you guys want to, we put out a new masterclass. I've been trying to put out a lot more master classes for all of you. It's completely free. If you want kind of the ultimate guide to building a profitable sales team where you as the owner is not doing it and you can close 20 times quicker or 20 times more and close a lot quicker and really create a really cool sales team where they're not selling, go to agencymastery360.com/convert. It's free masterclass, 4 videos, a lot of cool resources for you that you can download to create the sales team. So go to agencymastery360.com/convert. And until next time, have a swank day.